Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Priya Hasan and welcome to this episode of Chekhamukhi. Now this episode of Chekhamukhi is centered about something very important which has happened recently, which is what is called Aagaman, which is India's first private space flight which reached orbit. This happened on 18th of July last month, and it's basically about a rocket which was launched from Sriharikota. It crossed the boundary of 100 kilometers, and it was actually launched by Skyroot Aerospace, called Vikram 1, launched off from Satish Dhawan Space Centre. And it was called the Mission Aagaman, which actually means arrival. So it actually marked the arrival of Skyroot, India's first private company to conduct a successful orbital launch for the Indian soil. Now, Vikram 1 was actually not Skyroot's first rocket. In November 2022, the company had already launched a rocket called Vikram S on Mission Prarambh, which means the beginning. But this one actually reached a height of about 88.8 kilometers. Now we know the definition of space is 100 kilometers, but 88 is kind of considered good enough. But this was, reaching that height. But now you actually have about launching it in orbit, which has happened with Vikram 1. Now the launch, if you actually see, the launch took place with a slight delay because there were some technical problems, which is often what happens in such cases. It's not something very new, and therefore it was expected at 11:30, but it actually happened at 12:05. There was slight this thing, but in spite of all these few glitches, it was launched. So this was basically a 4-stage rocket, which is primarily launched. It's basically been done for small satellites. It can carry about up to 350 kilograms to low Earth orbits, and approximately 260 kilograms to a sun synchronous orbit, and a path which is frequently used by Earth observation satellites because it allows them to pass over locations at nearly the same local time. And therefore, this thing actually included a lot of technological advanced features, which includes an extensively carbon composite structure, solid propellant lower stages, lower propellant upper stage, and modular systems intended to support dedicated and ride-share missions. So the idea basically behind this was actually about launching small payloads, so that companies who want to actually launch smaller payloads, they can actually launch it with systems like this. Now the founders of this company are two ISRO engineers, whom you can see over here. These two persons, they were actually working with ISRO, Pavan Kumar Chandana and Nagabharat Dikar. And like I mentioned earlier, their goal was basically to make accessible, to have faster and more responsive for small satellite operations. And it has now grown this company to a workforce of about 1,000 people. And its rise was made possible by changes in India's space policy. And therefore, what you see is that Vikram 1, it actually illustrates the public-private model, where the rocket was privately developed but launched from the ISRO spaceport, and benefit from the regulatory tracking, range safety, and ground support framework of India's established national program. Now, this is a very important launch. It actually matters very much for India because now it actually, shows the upcoming private sector which is there in the space industry in India. And it also matters economically because the number of small satellites planned worldwide has increased rapidly, driven by Earth imaging constellations, communication networks, as well as scientific missions. And therefore now India has already taken advantage of its engineering talent and economical manufacture, and this marks the beginning in that. So the success is in the beginning, and you basically now have evidence of reliability, where Skyroot can actually manufacture vehicles consistently, shorten the time between missions, manage costs, and demonstrate that the launch of this thing can be done. It's already developing Vikram 2, which is the sequel to this rocket, which is a more capable vehicle. This actually plans to use cryogenic propulsion and carry substantially heavier payloads. The company advertises a capacity of up to 900 kilograms to low Earth orbits, with launches actually targeted from 2027. And therefore, this marks actually a beginning where we actually now look forward to the private space industry in India, which is growing and which is actually now going to be supporting our space ventures. Thank you.